So for the next couple of lessons, we're going to look at another type of chart, and it's all to do with when you have two sets of data, and we look for some sort of connection. So have a look at these and think to yourself, look, which of these do you think would have some sort of relationship? Okay, so as an example, for where the temperature outside, do you reckon that they would have an impact or be connected to ice cream sales? Yes, they probably would. As the temperature outside increases, we're probably going to sell more ice creams. So have a look through the rest of them. Just pause the video, take 30 seconds, and then just have a think about which ones you think would have some sort of relationship and which ones wouldn't. Alright, so let's have a look at them. The length of a person's hair and how much shampoo they use. Again, yeah, you've got longer hair, you're probably going to use more shampoo. Alright, the number of absences from school and a math test score. Yep, if you miss lots of school, you're probably going to miss lots of the work that's going to be in that test. How far a student lives from school, time taken to get to school. Yes, generally speaking, not all the time, but if you live further away, it's going to take you longer to get to school. Biking speed in a race, hours spent training for a race. Well, yes, depending on which bikes we're talking about, you're going to be more confident, you're going to be stronger if it's like a pedal bike, or just more confident if it's a motorbike, so you're going to spend more training, so you're going to be able to go faster. Time spent running and calories burnt, yep, there's a relationship there. The number of pets and the hours spent watching TV, probably not. Probably not much of a connection. You might be able to find some sort of loose one, but generally speaking, no. Time taken to run 5 kilometres and shoe size, again, not really much of a connection there. Your height and your math score, again, not really a connection between the two of those. The age of a car and the value of a car, yes, there is generally, again, I'm saying generally because it's not the same for every car, but the older a car is, the less valuable it is generally, unless it's a vintage one. The biking speed in a race and the time taken to get to the finish line, yes, obviously if you go faster, you're going to get to the finish line faster. Temperature outside and hot chocolate sales, well, that's actually related to here. And yeah, there is another connection. For that one, as the temperature increases, hot chocolate sales will go down. So there's still a connection. Right. So we're looking at two sets of data for these, and we want to find some way of representing these and showing these so that we can perhaps see if there is some sort of connection. And the way we do these are using scatter graphs. So a scatter diagram, please write this down, are used to compare two sets of data. And when we've got two sets of data and they're kind of paired up, we call it bivariate data. And just draw a really rough sketch of a scatter diagram. So you've got, generally speaking, an axis, and you'll have some crosses on it where you'll have one set of data along here and one set of data going up here, and then we mark off the pairs. So we'd go along to here and we go up to here, and that would be another paired point. It's easier once we've done a couple of examples. And the main reason we draw these, like I've said, is because we want to know really, is there a connection between those two sets of data? So here's an example of a completed scatter graph. Here we've got, a bit like I was talking about earlier, the value of cars in a used garage are recorded below, and the scatter graph shows this information. So for example, this point here, well, this tells us that there was a 7-year-old car and it was worth £2,000. Similarly here, we've got a 2-year-old car that was worth £7,000. So first of all, I have to be able to read off these values. They're pretty easy to see. So in this example, there were 10 cars which were looked at, and each one is plotted individually with a little cross. So your first task today is just to practice plotting these. They're actually pretty easy to plot, I think. So here we've got we've got how many? 8 people, and we've got their math scores and their physics scores. And this is the first question on your worksheet. So for each person in this class, we've got their math score and their physics score, and we're going to plot each one. So let's look at this first one. So this person scored 9 on the maths score. So 9 is here, halfway between 8 and 10, and the physics score is 10. So we're going to plot that point exactly there. And I'm going to use a cross. Do not use anything else. Don't use a circle or a dot. Please use a cross, a little one, just like that. Right, this person here, 13 and 13. So they scored 13, so there's 13 here, and we're going to go all the way up to 13 here, just about there. Be as accurate as possibly can. You're going to be much more accurate on yours than I am with mine because the screen's not great. 6 and 5, so they scored 6 in maths and 5 in physics. 18 and 20 for the next one, so 18 in maths up to 20. So someone who did well in both. 11 in maths and 8 here, so 11 and 8. 4 and 5, 4 and 5 goes there. 15 and 12, roughly there. And finally 10 and 14 goes there. So for this one, we can generally see what we're looking for. Are kind of, do they indicate some sort of line? Do they kind of make a line like this? And they do kind of, really roughly. So you kind of, don't draw this on yours, but you kind of got this general shape here, where you can see as we might expect. All right, as your math score goes up, your for this class anyway, the higher they scored in maths, the higher they scored in physics. That's a lot of because physics does contain a lot of maths. These do sometimes go hand in hand. You might consider some values. So, for example, the question might have also a value down here, and where this person scored really high in maths and really low in physics, and you might call that, for example, an outlier. All right, and that would be called an outlier because it's out of, it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the points. So you might investigate that a bit more, have a look at it, maybe find out what that person did. Maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they did something wrong in the exam, something along those lines. But generally speaking, for the actual ones in this question, they all kind of show some sort of relationship because they roughly make a straightish line, or at least some sort of what's called a correlation. So all I'd like you to do for the time being is go to the worksheet and just plot. You should have 4 scatter graphs to complete, and all you need to do is the little crosses. That's what you need to do for the time being. So please stop the video and go off and do that.